YouTubers, gamers, and moviegoers, what's going on, guys? I'm the Messiah, this is Messiah Entertainment, and today we are reviewing Rogue One, a Star Wars story. It has been an entire year of anticipation to see what the first Star Wars spin-off movie would be like. It was the first one of many others to come in the future, and honestly, it had to work. Does it? Yeah. Now, this is a non-spoiler review, so I won't give you any plot details. The only thing I'll say is that this is the story of how the rebellion acquired the Death Star plans. It was all thanks to this one group of rebels called Rogue One. They were the one who took the risk, infiltrated the Imperial's little network, and they were able to get their hands on the plans. Now, the story 100% works because you pretty much know how the story is going to end. You know at the end of the movie they have to get the plans to Princess Leia. That's not a question. You know that they're probably going to take a lot of casualties because you are going up against the Galactic Empire, you know? So, I mean, the story works for what it has to do. It's serviceable, you know? And even in that, it still takes different turns that I wasn't exactly expecting him to do. It gets into a bit of the politics of what all the rebel leaders are all thinking. In fact, that's one of the parts that I really liked about this movie. This movie, while it may not seem like it's the most significant because we already knew what was going to happen going into this, it does add some very nice context to the rest of the films. First off, it does pretty much clear up why that one little weakness was in the Death Star. It does clear that up. So, if for nothing else, that. But in addition, it shows you why the Empire was so hated and why it was such a force to be reckoned with. You never really got that feeling of how overbearing the Empire really was, you know, how terrible it was to live under their rule. These guys pretty much just blow up cities whenever they want to, just for a weapons test, which is pretty freaking ridiculous. You know, and then to see the sheer power of the Death Star up close and personal like you do on some of these planets, it really adds a new context to how terrible that weapon is. And when you first saw it in episode 4, you know, you don't see, or even in Starkiller Base in episode 7, you don't really see the effects it has on, you know, people on the ground. You know, you don't see an entire city get wasted, you know, or individual people getting caught in the rubble, and you know, little landmarks getting destroyed like that. And here it just has a lot more impact when you see an entire place pretty much get nuked. I think it changes a bit my outlook that I'm gonna have on episodes 4, 5, and 6, which I really want to watch now after watching this film. It was really dope, but it definitely changes my outlook and makes me hate the Empire that much more because, you know, now it feels like they're a real threat. You know, in the beginning it felt like, oh, okay, they're just the bad guys. Yeah, I'm sure they're sort of like Nazis. All right, yeah, they have a Death Star. But now the Death Star just seems that much scarier. You understand the fear that it puts in the rest of the rebel leaders. All of them are ready to give up the second they find out, oh my god, there's something that they could blow up planets, cities with just the blink of an eye, they're gone. That's ridiculous to think about. So, you know, it really adds a much needed context as to what the rebellion is fighting for and what the Empire really is. The characters are all interesting in their own right. I mean, you get as attached as you can to them in one movie with several different characters coming on to the same picture. You know what I mean? Like, you get as attached as you can to them. You do kind of feel sad if, you know, a character dies here or a character dies there. That's not a spoiler, right? We kind of knew that some of them had to kick the bucket where they were about to go. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't crying my eyes out when somebody passed away, but, you know, I mean, you felt it, you know what odds these people are up against. You know that they're just, like, regular people trying to fight against this very, very, very dangerous threat. So, you know, that in itself, you kind of relate to that and you kind of feel sorry for them, and, you know, that feels bad. But I mean, hey, I'm not gonna fall super in love with any of the characters. They were good. They were what the movie needed. People like Cassian Andor tells the group that he's been fighting the Empire since he was 6 years old. You know, apparently, you know, what, his whole family must have gotten destroyed, you know? That stuff like that, again, it adds another layer and shows how the Empire really affects people on a day-to-day basis. You know, it's not just, oh, they ruled over the galaxy, but, you know, you don't really feel it. They're just kind of there. No, they are really an active, terrible force in the galaxy, and they need to be stopped here. If now, then never. Another thing I loved about this movie, the action. I gotta say, this is some of the best action in a Star Wars movie that I think I've ever seen. It is really, really freaking good, particularly with the space battles, it's really hard hitting. First off, we saw it in the trailers, but the Star Destroyers look absolutely freaking amazing. And then there's certain shots of like the X-Wing where it looks like the camera's on top of the engine and it just follows the X-Wing around. And those shots are really cool too. It just puts you in the experience and you really feel the impact of every explosion, of every ship crash, of every blaster hit. And then the stuff down on the ground, oh my freaking god, that was awesome too. We went into this movie hearing about how much of a war film it was, you know, making comparisons between Saving Private Ryan in this, or other great war films. Yeah, you totally see it in this thing. The straight carnage that you see, it's really well done, and it's not shaky cam either. It's really steady to a certain degree. It's almost documentary style, but it's not, you know, I can't see anything that's going on. It's very well shot so that you can see all the action unfolding. A lot of the shots are hard hitting. A person gets shot, a big blaster bolt will explode from them. It's really dope stuff. And then again, one of the best space battles I've seen in a while. You feel like you're with the pilots as they're flying around, trying to evade TIE fighters, biting off time for Rogue One to finish their mission. You know, it doesn't feel like you're just watching ships fly left and right. You feel like you're watching these rebels desperately hold on to whatever hope they have to stop the Death Star from you know, raining terror over the galaxy. Oh yeah, it's like some of those shots with like the AT-ATs, oh my freaking god, they looked freaking terrifying. You don't get that in Empire Strikes Back. I'm sorry. The way they filmed it here, the way it comes out of the smoke in the one scene, it's like, oh my freaking god. I can see why the rebels would be freaking terrified of this stuff. The way they shoot the AT-ATs, it looks so gigantic and it just looks like a freaking monster. So, you know, I don't know, it just looks really, really cool. Also, in terms of CGI, Grand Moff Tarkin is in the movie. Now, I expected them to just simply recast the role and have somebody that looks sort of like him, but not, you know, 100% the same. Oh my freaking god, he's 100%, well not 100%, he's pretty much CGI. I'm sure they used like a body double and then CGI'd something onto his face. But I gotta admit, it looks really well done in most shots. You know, there's maybe one or two where he kind of looks rubbery and it kind of gives it away. That's the only reason why I noticed it. But honestly, I was really looking for like the first few minutes he was on screen. I had to look, I was like, oh my god, did they recast and just do a really good recast, or did they just, I really couldn't tell. They did a really great job. You know, I think it's probably the same technology they used for Paul Walker in Furious 7, but it's obviously advanced very far if they could just do things for people who've been dead for years and just CGI their faces back on to living people and have it look that freaking good. Some scenes may have looked better than others, but to be honest, there's one shot at the end where he's like, you may fire when ready, and it looks really, really freaking good. So they do the same thing to another character from the original films. I'm not gonna say who it is so I don't give anything away, but that one more or less is either kind of a hit or miss. It's okay, it's serviceable, but it's way more apparent. It looks just kind of rubbery. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about except for, I mean, Darth Vader! Okay, I'm gonna dip slightly into spoiler territory. I'm not gonna dive in. I'm just gonna do a little bit of spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go away now. Just go away. Go away, okay? You know, it's maybe skip like a few minutes in, you know, to see my final rating. But just go away real quick. Darth Vader's scene was freaking off the chain. You know, the movie's wrapping up. Everybody's been killed. You know, the rebel ship that has the Death Star plans is trying to escape. It's this big old rebel flagship. Darth Vader's Star Destroyer is right in front of it. He says, gather a boarding party. I thought he meant that gathering party was the same one from A New Hope. I thought that was going to be the little bridge the gap. I thought they were going to have to show the stormtroopers gearing up, and then they would blow the door, maybe show a quick second. I wasn't sure what I was going to see. But it turns out no! As they're downloading the plans onto this little drive, taking it out, and then running to the Tainted Fort, the smaller ship, so they can detach and fly away, the door gets stuck in the middle, and as they're trying to open it, all the lights shut off. It's pure silence for a few seconds, and then all you hear is The red lightsaber ignites, the music swells up, everybody's screaming, "Open fire!" And then he just starts wrecking them. He starts deflecting blaster bolts. People are getting blasted back left and right. He lifts, he throws his hands out like this, makes his hand, the dude goes flying onto the roof. It's like the definitive Darth Vader scene. It's some of the best action in the entire film. It actually had my jaw on the floor. Yeah, it shows why Darth Vader is such a badass. You see him in all these other movies and you just kind of take their word for it that, you know, he's a threat. You know, I mean, he's a great duelist. He destroys Luke in episode 5. But, I mean, this is like the true scene where it's like, this is why they fear the Empire. He is an absolute force of destruction. There's how many guys? I would say a good maybe 15 dudes in the hallway that he just demolishes through. He doesn't take a single hit. He force pushes them, force grabs, chokes, slams, starts slicing through guys. It's almost like a freaking horror film. He's like Jason or Michael Myers, just slashing through guys and they're screaming on the door, begging for help and just to take the plans, ghost, leave me. You know, it's pretty freaking cool. It's the shot that I think everybody was waiting for in this film. They needed to do it. I was getting worried because it was getting towards the end that they were just gonna kind of leave us off on like a bit of a, you know, like a Joker-ish note from Suicide Squad where he was heavy in the promotion, but then the movie he was kind of skimped on. There's no real definitive Joker scene. This one has a definitive Darth Vader scene. It is so freaking dope. It was mind-blowing, honestly. I mean, the movie itself is awesome on its own, but then to have that one little scene at the end, I think just it made the movie for me. It was the cherry on top that completed the entire thing. It's what we needed to see. Also, there's a lot of great little cameos here and there. The dude that you know, Obi-Wan slices his hand off in the Mos Eisley Cantina, he bumps into Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor on Jeddah, and that was a cute little Easter egg. And there's a bunch of little Easter eggs here and there. I think they call for General Syndulla, who's the Green Twi'lek from Rebels. There's a bunch of cool little Easter eggs here and there for all the real Star Wars fans, you know. But anyway, that's it. That's I'm done with my fangirling rant right there. You know, take off the spoiler alert, you know, it's fine. At the end of the day, guys, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 10 out of 10.
Flawless victory.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's a Star Wars movie. What did you expect it to get? I gave Force Awakens a 10 out of 10. Pretty much all the films hold pretty much close to a 10 out of 10. Maybe episode 2 might be like an 8 or 7. But, you know, all the Star Wars films, for the most part, have extremely high scores because I love them. They're freaking awesome. Maybe I'm a little biased. I don't freaking care. If you're a Star Wars fan, I really think you're gonna love it. If you were a little disappointed by The Force Awakens, I think you might like this one. I've talked to some people who had problems with this one because they still felt like it wasn't original enough. I personally disagree. I think it was very original. I think the way it was shot, the story, the tone of it was just way different than a regular Star Wars film. Now, personally, I wouldn't say this is like my favorite Star Wars film. I walked out with my friend Johnny and he said in his opinion that this movie was either on par or better than Empire Strikes Back. Personally, I don't know. I don't think it touches that. First off, Empire Strikes Back is not my favorite Star Wars film. It's Return of the Jedi, but I get what he means. It's the best of the Star Wars films. I don't personally agree with that. I felt like it's a really, really strong Star Wars film. I wouldn't say it was that good. I don't know. I'd put it maybe like 4 or 5, maybe around The Force Awakens' level. You know, maybe an inch above, maybe an inch below. You know, somewhere around there. Not exactly at their level. You know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. I'm sure you guys got your own. Let me know in the comment section down below. What is your favorite Star Wars film? Where does this rank on your list of Star Wars films? Is it your favorite? Is your least favorite? You know, is it somewhere in the middle? Does it rank up? How do you feel about this compared to The Force Awakens? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe. Guys, please check out my other channel, Director's JX Tim. We got cool short films and skits for you guys, including Reprisal, a Star Wars short film. I just released it a few days ago. Please check it out. I run the channel with my boy Johnny Lee as his own channel on JXB Entertainment. Be sure to check that out for the spoiler-filled review of Star Wars The Force Awakens. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I'm the Messiah. This is Messiah Entertainment. See you guys next time. Peace.